Hi there. Have you ever made a promise to beat a Super Grandmaster and swore you would do so on your father's future son? Well, in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at how to do just that. But in the future, wouldn't recommend doing that. That's quite a responsibility, my goodness. But I'll do my best to see if we can help you out. Okie dokie then, let's take a look at what we got here. Kapow. I'm going to begin with the end, taking a look today first at the Caruana versus Sevian Samuel matchup right here. Beginning with the end, this was the position where he botched it, he messed up, he screwed up, and I can't believe it. I'm trying to wrap my mind around how exactly does a Super Grandmaster, mess up games ever? Because you would think they never do that. They never make mistakes. But even the best of the best of the best in the whole world, they do mess up, and it happens. And I just find that mind-boggling. So I'm gonna begin with the end. Have I said that enough times? Let's say it one more time. Begin with the end. And I think that gives us a good framework. It's kind of foreshadowing, right? So let's take a look at what happened here. He goes like this. He goes Rook E to D1. Okay, so he does this move right here, and this, as it turns out, is a critical error. So both players are stacked up along the E and D files. Black has two possible breaks like this, and White has this possible break, pawn to H4. Now, it was really tricky to figure out, but get this. If he'd gone H4, he's generating some counterplay. Okay, so White's going to go here. And then he's going to be, maybe getting a pawn down this way and getting some counterplay. Now, it doesn't look good at first because after takes, king up to h3 over here, rook over to g7, White certainly cannot grab here due to checkmate. Okay, checkmate's bad. You don't want that to happen. You don't want to do that. Been there, done that. Wouldn't recommend it. But what you can do, though, is just go boop. You just poke this little guy here. You go boop, and you just stay there. You don't do anything, but just stay there. And then, as it turns out, that generates enough counterplay, and this would have been the way to hold it. After which, the computer advises just kind of shuffling back and forth for a bit. When now, because of this king marching up here potential and going down here, he can hold a draw. Instead here it goes like this, and then now see both players are controlling the E and D files. Takes right here, and then E takes F3, and we see Caruana just crashing through this way like so. He's going to go here. He sacrificed the exchange. Pretty exciting stuff. Now he's threatening the rook. And this one over here, as well as this one indirectly, because the knight is going to come in right here and deliver a fork. In lieu of this, White takes right here. His position is hopeless at this point. There's not really a whole lot that can be done. Rook comes over this way. Now we go here. Just a fine and dandy technique, aiming to get the knight into here in a second, and then just brings in the king this way, and then he's going to be ready to take out these pawns like so. So that is how the game ended. Let's go back to the start and see kind of how that game formulated. By the way, if this doesn't make sense as why this is a resignable position, I'd recommend maybe even setting this position up on a board at home maybe. Or setting it up against like the computer and practicing it and seeing if you can win that. It's important to be able to convert those types of advantages. E4, E5, knight C3, and then we see some standard stuff happen right here. And now White plays D3. Note that White cannot play a move like this due to what's called the fork trick. If he goes right here, then knight takes. Now knight takes this way, and you go, well, why did we just give up a piece? Because kapow, fork trick. Interestingly enough, White can also go here, but this is even better for Black. Even though we have a king in a potentially weak spot, this is largely preferable now for Black. He's going to go here, h6, and finish his development, and then enjoy a nice center. So, Super Grandmasters aren't going to make a mistake like that, of course. Pawn d3, and now Caruana gets his advantage started with this move, potentially. I mean, he's getting equality, not an advantage, but he's getting equality. When he goes here, he's capitalizing on the chance to take away this bishop, and also kind of wreck the pawn structure a little bit and leave him some potential for a breakthrough later down the line. So even on move 4, in a way, he was kind of getting ready for that e4 break that we saw earlier. Okay, so after this, now it takes here, and then we're going to just go like this and develop a bishop on over this way and attack the pawn. Queen comes up and guards it. Pawn b3, overprotecting this pawn, allowing for the queen to maybe move aside later on. Pawn a5, grabbing space, grabbing some more space. And now the knight goes here, and there's two purposes to this. For one thing, he's guarding the bishop, and he's also getting ready for a possible pawn to f5. After here, knight's going to put some pressure on these two squares. In the event of a move like this, pawn c6, we go nope, and we get this guy protected by the queen, and so we're going to be up actually some serious material there because the pawn is no longer guarding there. Okie dokie, after right here, now he's going to take this away and then go knight c5. And the game's still pretty even Steven, but both players now have this chance to go and push their f pawn. And so that's going to be crucial for both sides because they're going to trade away a flank pawn for a center pawn. So effectively trading it like that, right? So in the event that either player does so, then they can potentially, make some progress, right? Well, he's going to go b6 here, and the engine is pretty critical and nitpicky about this kind of stuff. But apparently, according to the engine, this is a slight inaccuracy. It would have been better for black to go pawn to f5, but this leads to some possible equality, and so I would suspect that maybe Caruana just didn't want to give his opponent some easy equality right here when the position is just kind of cut and dry, and there's not necessarily a whole lot to get going. And in fact, this even ends with a possible perpetual check. You just go here and here and here and here. But Caruana is rated, basically like 136 points higher than his, they're at 146, so nearly 150 points higher than his opponent, and he goes, no mas, can't do that, can't afford to draw, I need to go for the win. He plays a waiting move. After this, pawn to a4. It was actually in white's best interest to now go pawn to f4, so both players are kind of holding off on this move a little bit unnecessarily. Rook d2, once again, pawn to f4 would have been the move there for white. Bishop comes back here to d7, applying some pressure this way, and now queen to g5, aiming to kind of prevent now white from going pawn to f4, trading off the queens and locking down that f4 square with the g-pawn. Now this creates some complications though, because because now black, in order to push this pawn, may face the consequence of having double isolated pawns right here. So it's going to be a tricky battle here. It may or may not be good, but it takes some special care now that wasn't necessarily required before. Okay, so he goes rook this way. Now he's guarding c7. Knight was going to attack there. We don't want to let up that free pawn. Bishop to e6, aiming to knock this guy out. Knight's too strong. We're gonna give it up for this guy. And after takes, the more intuitive move, cx d5 would have actually been better, offering white some drawing chances. For instance, here we go like this. See, white's just gonna start shuffling back and forth and saying, "Come at me. What are you gonna do?" Well, only thing the black can do now is actually break through with this way, pawn b5, and then after takes, this comes over, f takes, knight takes. We go on over this way, and then now separate these pawns vertically, I suppose, and try to trade it away for a pawn like this. Okay, so then we come in like so, and it seems like there's some counterplay and some potential to, that's right, we're going deep, to get something going right here. You don't want to take this way on a5 necessarily because of king f4. And then this way, and then we take like this, and so using this pin and this attack right here, we're looking good there. So it would be a struggle for quite a while. I mean, white would really have to hold on for dear life, but this was, maybe a way to equalize things. So in the game here, he did not go for such a thing, and instead went rook takes d5. Okie dokie, so we're going to go like this, and then this pawn here is now helping for potential pawn to f5 advance in a moment. Here takes, there takes, rook d2, king g6, we go this way, pawn f4, and now we're starting to see that that structure formulate that I alluded to earlier, with this potential for pawn h4 for white, and then pawn e4 for black. Rook comes up on over this way, and then now, in addition to this e4 break, we also have the potential to go this way and start attacking h3. Okay, so after right here, he's going to do pretty much just that. And now this is a little bit of like a cat and mouse game at this point, because this attack isn't expected to go anywhere on the h3 pawn necessarily, since this rook now guards it. But then after right here, king f7, rook e2, I think that basically Sevian was a bit worn down at this point, because Fabiano was kind of just like doing this cat and mouse type of game and not necessarily committing to anything just yet and waiting for Sevian to error. which Sevian does. Actually, on this turn, knight to b5 was not so great, and it actually allows for black to make the following move, pawn e4. And it is so hard to figure out. It is so hard to make these pawn breaks. How can you make the pawn breaks if you don't know when to make them? It really is difficult. It's hard to time these correctly, but this was the correct time. Now, you may be wondering, well, wait a second, if they go like this and then just f takes, aren't they just winning a free pawn? You know, like, oh, we're gonna go like king up and then maybe take here. No. We go here. We got a pin, so we win that guy back, and then now we got some further targets to attack. Well, here then, he goes this way, king to d7. Now wait a second. Did he even need to defend the c7 pawn? No, because after right here, what is he going to do? Take this guy? We go, no. I had that guarded. I was over here. I was sneaky. Ha, hiding behind the bush. You did not see me. Ha. I don't know who that is. He just keeps coming. And so, E.T. fun, I don't know what I'm doing. This is fun. I'm having fun. Having a good time, okay? Hope you are too. We're going to learn how to beat these super grandmasters. Or more or less. Knight b5. Like to have fun with it. We go here, and so now he's attacking this guy. And so Caruana unnecessarily defends this guy. And it would have been better to go e4. Well, he gets another chance to come back later and win this thing. He's going to slowly improve the position of his king right here. And Sevian really just kind of hoping for a draw, essentially. Like, he's making a lot of moves where he's just shuffling back and forth. But now this is going to allow for white to have this breakthrough. So this critical error we alluded to earlier is now the deciding factor. He missed it before, but he doesn't miss it again. He goes right here. Pawn to e4. And so now we're going to be crashing through the snow. One horse open sleigh with the move rook to e2, and then doing this little exchange sacrifice is gonna wind us, turn us into a really big pumpkin. I don't know. I work with kids. I am a kid. What are we doing? We're gonna go here and win the rook, and so in lieu of that he goes here, and this is just pretty much hopeless, and he's gonna wrap it up like this way. That's gonna do it for game number 1. Hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe to see more videos like this, and send me a game request video if you'd like me to do any game in particular. Play lots of chess, and I will see you guys later.